Hello friends, and welcome to the another lecture on construction management and law. And today we will see the topic manpower, productivity and modes of calculating the productivity. Okay, need of manpower, manpower planning, then productivity, how it is measured, how it is to be done, the few formulas, basics and modes of calculating the productivity. So before starting, I would like to introduce myself. I am Ameya Khedikar, working in the Department of Civil Engineering at Tulsi Ramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. So, manpower. Why we required manpower in organization, in industry, or any kind of task we are about to handle? What is the requirement of manpower? Why? What is manpower planning and human resource planning? Both are similar words. Okay, basically it's the process by which the management determines how an organization should move from a current manpower position to its desired manpower position. Though planning, the management strives to have the right number and the right kind of people at the right places at the right time to do things which results in both organization and individual growth. So by putting right manpower at right places at right designation positions, so it results in the growth of both organization and as an individual. Okay, now if you go to various reference books, literature available regarding this term, so different people have defined it by their own way. So different authors, different nomenclatures are there. So we'll see one by one. We'll try to recollect the things, and this I would like to again remind you that we have done this previously also. Just I'll brush up the things. As per Coleman's, it defines manpower planning is the process of determining manpower requirements and the means of meeting those requirements in order to carry out the integrated plan of the organization. So in simple words, in order to execute the work in the organization, it is all about planning of the manpower. Strainer defines manpower planning is the strategy for the acquisition, utilization, improvement and preservation of an enterprise human resources. So Strainer, as per Strainer, it is the strategy of acquisition, improvement, preservation, utilization of an enterprise human resources. Okay, and it relates to the quantitative requirements of job, determining the number of personnel indeed and developing sources of manpower. Again, Wickstrom says human resource planning consists of series of activities such as forecasting future manpower requirement, then making an inventory present manpower resources. So in the forecasting future manpower requirement based on mathematical projection of trends in the economic environment in industry or judgmental estimates based on the specific future plans of the company. And in second, making an inventory of present manpower sources, and basically it is assessing the extent to which these resources can employed optimally. Okay, and again in continuation to that, anticipating manpower problems by projecting present resources into the future and determining their adequacy both qualitatively and quantitatively. Okay, then plan action like training, selection, promotion, transfer, development, etc. and compensation to ensure the future of manpower required and then the requirements are properly met. Basically, I would like to repeat once again, as per the Wickstrom, it says forecasting future manpower requirements, then making an inventory present manpower resources, then anticipating the manpower problems by projecting the present resources, and finally the plan action like training, selecting, promoting or transferring the development and compensation to ensure the future of the manpower. Okay, now question arises, why the need? So question arises, what is the need for planning the or human resource planning? What is the need of HR? See, each organization needs human resources to carry out the work, to execute the task. Okay, these are provided by HR planning. Okay, in every industry, in every company there is a HR department. They plan the manpower, they arrange the manpower, they distribute the work and all the things, right from the hiring to development. They look after all process in the corporate sector. The person have to be replaced at work because of retirement, death or incapacitation. Alright, either We have to recruit after retirement in case of any sudden suspension, death or termination or lack of capacities of the handling work. Okay, so replacing frequent employee turnover because of promotion, voluntary quit, marriages, childbirth, etc. Okay, again, why we required manpower planning is required to meet the challenge of a changing technology and newer techniques of production. Okay, it helps to identify area of surplus personnel or the area where there is a shortage of personnel. Students, there are two spelling of personnel where PERSO double NEL is there. It is called karmachari, the staff, and one is PERSONEL, that is personal, that is your personal, means vayaktik, own. Okay, so example, if it is surplus, then may be redeployed. All right, so why it is required to person if in case of replacement? Okay, because of any reason, in case of retirements, then in case of any voluntary quit, marriages, then as per the changing technology, we need to hire new person, we need require skilled manpower, it may happen. And again, it helps to identify areas of surplus personnel or the area where there is no shortage of personnel. All right, now see, starting we have done with, in this lecture starting we have done with the manpower, what is manpower, requirement of manpower, then manpower planning, HR. Now after all this, the main question, main segment is of responsibility of HR planning. What is the responsibility of the human resource planning? Okay, so line manager, so it is categorized in two parts. So first will be line manager and staff manager. So human resource planning is the collective responsibility of the line manager and the staff manager, where line manager, what he do, estimates the manpower requirements, he provides the information on the basis of estimates of the operating levels. All right, and in the then staff manager provides supplemental information in the form of records, present forecasting techniques to the line manager, advises the line manager on assessment of manpower utilization, develops sources of information for purpose of comparison, and administrator the procedure of forecasting. So the roles are clearly defined of line manager and staff manager, where line manager is supposed to estimate and provide the information, where the actual execution of the ground level work is to be done by the staff manager, where he has to provide the information, plan the things, develop sources, and advise line manager regarding the utilization of proper manpower. Again, there are 5 steps which shows us the responsibility of human resource planning. First will be deciding goals and objectives. Second will be forecasting the human resource requirements. Third, auditing human resources. Fourth, planning job analysis. And finally, fifth, developing a human resource manpower plan. These are the major responsibilities categorized as deciding goals, objectives, giving the targets, then forecasting the human resource requirements. After giving targets, they receive the requirements, then the monitoring of the work, auditing has to be done, then planning the job analysis, and then developing the HR manpower plan. Okay, so now we'll see the step 1, deciding goals and objectives. Deciding goals and objectives. So analyze business plan and business strategies. The business objectives are long-term and short-term objectives. It has again categorized to short-term and long-term objectives. Number 1, in long-term, it produces a new product, expand in market, hire sales force, and not depends on distributors. Start a new industry or a business unit. As the best example, starting a new industry or business. It's a long-term. What is short-term objective? Hire additional 50 employees for training purpose, additional team with 3 members for a project. So I hope you understood. That is a short-term goal and long-term objective, short-term objective. Okay. Step 2, forecasting the manpower requirements. Now what are the requirements? Then it comes majorly under manpower forecasting. Okay. So it's the process of making statements about manpower demands and supply whose actual outcomes have not yet been observed. Basically, it is the process of making statements about manpower demand and supply whose actual outcomes have not yet been observed. Again, forecasting can be described as predicting what the future will look like. So assessing the future, that is all about the forecasting, where planning predicts what the future should look like. And there is no single right forecasting method to use. One has to understand the various forecasting techniques, basically to assess the conditions, to plan the things and select the technique based on the objectives and the conditions. So it may vary condition to condition. Okay, again, forecasting is a basic premises in which manpower planning is built. It is necessary for many reasons, just like an expansion in business, we require a forecasting and we have a very visionary mind. Change in management and leadership styles, use of technology and mechanism necessitate changes in skills of workers as well as damage in number of employees indeed. If there are changes in quality or quantity of product or services, it required changes in the organizational structures. So forecasting comes under the expansion of business, change in management, the use of technology and change in quality or quantity of product. Again, there is a new term called organization structure that we will see in a continued lecture. But now we will focus on this expansion of business. We require a visionary mind, forecasting, that is change of management, we require forecasting, use of technology, we require the vision, we require to see something more beyond that. Okay, and if in case of there are changes in quality or quantity, then we need to have the forecasting vision. Now, so after the manpower HR planning, now we will see the concept of productivity, modes of calculating the productivity. So what basically the productivity is. You can see the image where the production management I have shown you. Okay, on the left side demand information is there, then production system and products. Basically it is all about the equation of demand and supply. While producing anything, while making your own industry, company, factory, you need to have a detailed market analysis. What is the problem of market? Your product must be a problem solving product. Your product must be a problem solving product. So until and unless you have a detailed critical market analysis, okay, you are not supposed to get a demand information. Once you have demand information, then with the help of your raw material and parts and with resources, you are about to produce a final product. Now, how to measure it? What's it? Alright, so according to EFL Becht, production management is become the process of effectively planning and regulating the operation of that part of an enterprise which is responsible for actual transformation of materials into finished products. So it is the process, in simple words I can tell you, it is the process of simply converting a raw material to a final finished product, but this process involves a lot of technical terms. Okay, it's a process of effective planning, organization, execution, regulating the operation of that part of enterprise which is responsible for actual transformation of material into a finished final product. You can see production and operation management. This is the entire process of operation management. Now, nature of production and operation management. So transformational process results into value addition. System itself exists for certain objectives carried out in parts of organization, interrelation among the system, spectrum formation, specialization of function, increase in entropy and increase in the productivity. So these are the 10 basically the aspects in which the production and operation management can run. So now we will see productivity. Okay. Basically productivity is the output of any production process as per unit of input. To increase productivity means to produce more with the less. The basic, okay, we'll read first. In factories and in corporates, productivity is a measure of the ability to create goods and services from the given amount of human resource, capital, land, knowledge, time or any combination of the above. Okay, so basically what productivity is, to produce something with the minimum efforts, to minimize the effort and to maximize the profit by using the human resources, capital, land, knowledge, time or any other combination of the above skill set. So productivity can be measured in the formula can be as to minimize the effort and maximize the profit. So according to International Labour Organization ILO, the ratio between the volume of output is measured by production indices and the corresponding volumes of labor input is measured by the employment indices. The productivity is measured of how much input is required to achieve the given output. So by using the simple formula one can easily calculate the productivity. Okay, output upon input. To increase the productivity, the ratio of output into input is made as large as possible in practical. Alright, investing a 50 rupees, getting an output of 200 rupees, the ratio comes larger, it means a good productivity. Vice versa, inputting 100 rupees and getting the output of 25 rupees, it's going in a 0 point somewhere, value is 0.25 something. Alright, so it doesn't make any sense, so it is in loss. To increase the productivity, the ratio of outputs to inputs is made as large as possible in practical. Let us say one example. In case A, 10 products are produced spending 1000 rupees, and in case B, 15 products are produced by spending 2000 rupees. So productivity in case A will be 10 by 1000 and productivity in case B will be 15 by 2000. So in case B, it's clear indication that the productivity has reduced. Alright, now types of productivity: partial productivity, total factor productivity and total productivity. So types of productivity is categorized in three parts: partial, total factor and total productivity. So we'll see partial. The resources of productivity when measured separately are called as the partial productivity. Okay, a measure of partial productivity plays a very important role in improving the productivity. Okay, so labor productivity is equals to output by labor input. Capital productivity is equals to output by capital input. Likewise, material productivity equals to output by material input. So productivity can be in terms of labor, manpower. Productivity can be in terms of finance. Productivity can be in terms of material. So how to get it in terms of labor productivity? Output upon labor input. In case of capital finance, it is output upon finance, capital input, and in terms of material productivity, output upon material input. So this is all about the partial productivity. In total factor productivity, in any production process, many of the resources inputs are available with the organization while a few others are purchased from the outside. So total factor productivity equals to net output divided by labor plus capital inputs. So in case of total factor productivity, so it is equals to net output divided by the labor manpower investment plus funding investment in terms of input. So by this way we will get a total factor productivity. Okay, and in total productivity, the method of calculating productivity considering all the resources is called total productivity. All kind of inputs are considered here. It is a systematic and qualitative to approach to complete the products considering the quality, prices and time. Total productivity provides a systematic framework and structure to an organizational and increased profitability. So total productivity equals to total tangible output divided by total tangible inputs. All kinds of inputs are considered in the total productivity. Now after the productivity and types, now we'll see factors affecting productivity. Okay, what are the factors which may have impact over it? We'll see technical factors, production factors, organizational factors, personal factor, finance factor, management factors, government factors and location factor. Okay, technical factors. Now we will see one by one. Okay, so I'll brief here again. First, what might be technical factors? Just like technology is not involved, taking a lot of time, failures, not having enough technology to handle the techniques. Then production factors, such that there are difficulties in production, organizational chart is not proper in case of that. Then staffing is not there, staffs are not there, skilled manpower is not required. Then enough funding is not available, there may be a problem of funding, finance. then issues from management side, then government factor, rules, regulation, GST and all, and geographical location. These are the tentative idea I am giving you, that are the factors which affects or influence the productivity, that may reduce the productivity. These may be the factors. Importance and problems of operation and management. So there are problems just like location. Just now we have discussed location, plant layout, product designing, inventory and production control, quality and labor control, enough skilled manpower is not available, then production control, product designing may be faulty sometimes, plant layout which is not fruitful, geographical location, very remote, in the very remote area you will not get the much response over there. And importance is consumers, inventors, employees, suppliers, community, nation. All right. So basically the ratio between output of the work and input of resources used in the process of creating wealth. So productivity equals to output within a defined time and good quality upon input. Okay, input, then process. In the process you may take an out waste, and the final finished product will be the output. So it is the ratio between amount of produce and amount of resources used in the production. This definition applies to industry or any economy as a whole. Now units of inputs means resources utilized, then units of outputs means anything in production like land, it is measured in hectares, material metric ton, plant and machinery in machine hours, people in man hours, capital in rupees. For example, a worker producing 100 pieces is now able to produce 130 pieces. After undergoing a training session, productivity of worker has increased by 30%. Alright. Now, factors affecting productivity. So we were in the continuation of factor affecting the productivity. So controllable or internal factors, product, then extent to which meet requirements, plant and equipment, then plant and equipment, availability and reduction of the ideal time, technology, automation should have been there, material and energy, reduces material and energy consumption, human factors, motivation should be there, training has to be there in order to get the skill things. If you are working with technology, then you must have a skilled manpower, technologically sound manpower, working methods, improvement, new method of working should be there, and management style, communication, policy, procedure should have been transparent. Uncontrollable factors such as the natural resources, manpower, land, raw material, geographical location, government infrastructure, norms. So there are two kinds of factors which can be controlled, just as product, plant, equipment, technology, material and energy, human factors, work methods, management style. This factor can be controlled, but natural resources like manpower, land, raw material, geographical location, government planning, infrastructure, rules, regulation, we cannot change it. So these are the uncontrollable external factors. Okay, now we will see the difference between productivity and performance. What is productivity? Output in relation to input. In performance, consider output alone. Productivity equals to output upon input, where performance index equals to actual work done upon expected or standard work. Let's take an example. It takes 3 meters of cloth to make a coat in a day. Prashant is expected to make 50 coats. He make 40 coats from 111 meters of cloth, where performance index is 80% and Prashant's productivity is 108% and cloth productivity is 0.36 coats per meter. Alright. Now we'll see ways and models of calculating productivity. Just now we have seen this partial productivity, which having benefits of it is easy to understand, easy to obtain the data, it is having easy to compute the productivity and indices, easy to sell management because of the above three advantages. Some partial productivity indicators data is available or in industry wide, good diagnostics tools to pinpoint areas for productivity improvement if used along with total productivity indicators. But the limitations are profit control throughout partial and can be a hit and miss approach, tend to shift the blame to the wrong areas of management control, do not have the ability to explain overall cost why it is going to increase, and if used alone can be very misleading and may lead to costly mistakes. Alright, then again we have seen total productivity. total output upon total input. Okay, uh, and total factor productivity also. So let us say example of total factor productivity, output upon inputs of labor plus capital. So we'll say example, production of worth 80 lakh was manufactured and sold in a month. It consumed labor hours worth Rs 12 lakhs and capital worth Rs 48 lakhs. So output was 80 lakhs where consume labor worth of 12 lakhs plus 48, so it is come to total factor productivity coming out to be 1.33. Okay, now multi-factor productivity. Scott D. Singh further developed total factor productivity model. So multi-factor productivity model considers labor, material and energy as major inputs. So up till now only we have seen capital, material, labor, but now energy also. Capital was left out since it is very difficult to estimate how much capital is being consumed in a unit time. Okay, so multi-factor productivity equals to output upon inputs in terms of labor, energy and materials. Now V. Suman's total productivity model. So it is the ratio of tangible outputs to tangible input. Total productivity, total tangible output upon input, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the outputs in terms of finished good, partial unit produced, dividends from securities, interest from bonds, other incomes, where H plus M plus FC plus WC plus E, it stands for M for human inputs, H for human inputs, M for material purchased, FC for fixed capital, WC for working capital, E for energy and X for other expenses. So in this Suman's total productivity model we are taking all kind of possible inputs and outputs. Okay, data is difficult to compute because n number of many numbers of inputs and outputs is categorized, so it is difficult to compute. Sometimes does not consider intangible inputs and outputs. All quantifiable inputs are considered, provides firm level and operational unit level productivity. Okay, APC, American Productivity Model Center. American Productivity Center model has been advocating a productivity measure that relates profitability with productivity. The basic role of this model is it relates the profitability to the productivity and price recovery factor. The price recovery factor take care of the inflation. Over a period of time, changes in this factor indicates whether the firm has to be able to absorb changes in cost inputs, has passed on the or has over compensated the same price of the company output. Profitability, sales upon cost. So sales, quantity of output into price, that is sales, and cost, quantity of input into price. So productivity into price factor, that is the profitability. And price recovery factor, it captures the inflation. Inclusion of the factor will show whether gain or losses of a firm are done due to changes in productivity or it merely indicates the fluctuation in prices of the material consumed and sold. Okay, so after seeing multiple models to measure productivity, now we'll see ways to improve productivity. Technology based, employee based, there are, I have listed out separately. Now we'll see one by one. Technology based, CAD, CAM, computer aided design, computer aided manufacturing, integrated CAM, robotics, laser beam technology, energy technology, group technology, computer graphics, simulation, maintenance, management, rebuilding old machinery, energy conservation. So this should be technology. By implementing this kind of simulation techniques, method, the productivity may increase, time can be saved. Employee based, financial incentives given to the employees in order to motivate them, group incentives, fringe benefits, promotions, enrichment, job enlargement, job rotation, worker participation, MBO skill enhancement, learning curves, working condition improvement, communication, zero defects, punishment recognition, quality circle, training, education, role perception, and supervision quality. So all these are methods which can motivate a faculty and which can build interest towards the organization and which will be very fruitful for the organization. Then material planning and control, purchasing, logistic, materials, storage and retrieval, sources selection and procurement of quality, material waste elimination. Okay, material based, process based, smart process methods, engineering and work simplification, job design, evaluation, job safety, human engineering. In product based, value analysis and value engineering, product diversification, standardization and simplification, reliability in engineering, product mix and promotion. Product based are very important. In task based, management style, work culture, communication in the organization, motivation, promotion, group activities. See, whatever we are dealing here is these are the all parameters. By implementing these parameters in the organization, we can increase the motivation level of the faculty, dedication level of the faculty, by awarding him, by giving him incentives, job enlargement. We can build interest and we can motivate the another staff also. So in continuation, ways to improve productivity: product development, specialization and standardization, market, consumer and product research, very important, value analysis, process planning and research, method study, safety, operator training, production planning and control, and material control. These are the 10 points which will ultimately helps to improve productivity. Okay, then importance: productiveness increase the overall efficiency of an organization, where increased production due to efficient utilization of organizational resources leads to a lower cost production, resulting in better sales and profits. Concept of productivity can be viewed from the following points. Number one, to beat the competition or to create an entry barrier directly to beat all the competition, guide the management, indicator of progress, maximum utilization of scarce resources, and key to national prosperity. Okay, so now again the benefits of increased productivity is to worker and to organization, to the nation and to the society. So right from the workers to the society, including nation and organization. So as it is always said by the any organization, the growth of the organization is depend upon the growth of the employee and vice versa. Okay, ultimately the growth of the employees also depend upon the growth of the organization. Both the statements are valid. So benefits of increasing productivity is yields more wages, better standard of living, improved morals, satisfied worker, resulting into a goodwill of the worker. Into the organization, higher production of goods and services, reduction in cost, high turnover, more profits and dividends, cheaper goods to customers, revenue to government in terms of tax by giving tax, widespread market and overall prosperity. And to the nation, again, high employment opportunities, increased gross national produce, improved utilization of resources, expansion in international market. As the organization grows, it opens another branch and again it leads to the high employment demands and opportunities. And finally, to consumer and society in general, increased in supply of quality goods and services, reasonable cost of goods and services, and greater customer satisfaction. So in the end, I would like to conclude with the one statement that all the time the consumer is the end user, and if he is satisfied, then we have achieved the goal, we have successfully done our task. Okay, so thank you very much friends, and I hope you understand our today's lecture. Before quitting, I would like to recap once again what we have seen today. So we have done today the HR. What is HR? We have seen the planning, necessity of human resource, why it is important, why it is needed in line manager staff, then responsibility of HR, deciding goals, objectives, forecasting, auditing, planning, execution, all. Okay, and after this, productivity. What is productivity? What are the nature of productivity operation? Then how it is made, what exactly productivity is. Okay, and then types of productivity, how it is measured. Few portion we covered later on also. Then factors affecting productivity we have seen. Okay, then factors, these are controllable, these are non-controllable. And productivity cycle, productivity and difference of performance, then partial, total, factored, in continuation, multifactored, Weissman's model, and advantages, disadvantages, APC, American Productivity Center model, then price recovery, then ways to improve, how to improve using technology, employee scaling, material, product design, and again there are many ways. I have seen product development, specialized, standardization, market, consumer analysis, value analysis, process planning and research, method study, safety, etc. And improve importance of productivity, then the ultimate benefits right from the worker, organization, nation to the consumer. So I hope you understood the details, basics of all this productivity, manpower, ways to increase, how to measure productivity and how to increase productivity. Thank you very much for patient listening, and we'll meet very soon with the another lecture. Thank you.